Hello. Why is point of view so important? Why is point of view something you should care about, put any time into? Well, that's what I'm going to be talking about for most of this month. Maybe I'll slip over into next month too. This is the start of a complete guide to point of view. Obviously, it's not a complete guide. I'm not going to say everything that can be said about point of view, but I am going to say something about every single point of view. That is, every single grammatical point of view. So, second person, plural, future tense. But more important than that, I'm going to try and explore this whole big deserted mansion, this whole big space of point of view with you. I'm going to try and get you to feel more at home in strange points of view, but also more comfortable with very, very conventional points of view, and seeing what there still is in the third person, past tense, close. I hope you'll find this useful. From my side of things, from my point of view, it's about the most useful thing I can talk about. So, why is point of view so important? Well, because point of view determines everything about every word you've ever written or that you'll ever write. Point of view, especially point of view in relation to time, is what decides the form and attitude and punctuation of every single sentence. If I'm running a workshop on this, my favourite subject, I'll begin by asking a general question. What do we mean by point of view? So, if you can, please take a moment, pause this, stop reading, and write down one of the things that you mean by point of view. What's an example of a point of view? Add it as a comment or just write it down. Okay. Usually in the same workshop, before we even look at those definitions and examples, I'll move straight on to the following exercise. It's meant to get the students, to get you to feel, really feel from the inside how the language that they use changes utterly when the point of view changes. Here's the exercise. I hope you'll have a go at it. Write a brief scene in which a couple, A and B, are breaking up. B is dumping A. They're not at home where they usually live together, but somewhere either public or in the countryside. For your first go at the scene, and there will be several, write from the first person past tense point of view of A. So, I was standing under the tree when B said to me, etc., etc. Write the scene as if it has just ended 5 minutes earlier. B has just left you. You, A, are by yourself, and you're not happy. What language do you, as A, find yourself using? What shape are the sentences you form on A's behalf? That's the exercise. Depending on how much time we have together, I then ask the students to rewrite the breakup scene again and again. Neither the dialogue nor the gestures of A and B can be changed. They are what happened. However, different details of their behaviour and their surroundings can be remembered and included and commented upon. So, if you have time, now or in the coming days, redo the exercise, but rewriting the scene from A's point of view now a month after the breakup. Do that. Then rewrite the scene a year after the breakup. Do that. And then rewrite the scene 10 years after the breakup. And finally, rewrite the scene 50 years after the breakup. How does what A says about the breakup change as they move further and further away from it in time, and further from themselves as they were at that period? Sometimes, to add a little complexity, I'll draw a timeline on the board, with an arrow running from left to right, from past to future. And then I'll cut down with vertical lines through it to show different points. So, for example, the point after A meets another person that it turns out they love much more than B and is much more suited to them. At each point after the breakup with B, A will narrate it in a completely different way. From the initial fury of emotionally overwhelmed devastation, they're likely, unless they become bitter and stuck, to start moving through annoyance and regret toward an amused, forgiving distance. There, that's the exercise. I hope when you're doing it and when you're rereading what you write, you can feel really from the inside the change in rhythm, the change in attack, the change in your character's whole attitude towards the language. Is it a weapon? Is it some kind of caress? What is it that the sentences are doing? Point of view is inseparable from time. And I usually teach 2 workshops, point of view and time, followed by time and point of view. So have a go at that writing exercise. A, looking back at their breakup with B from shorter to longer distances in time. Make different events happen in between. Maybe it is that A realizes that B was the love of their life and that really was a terrible thing, but they only realize that 50 years later after 40 more years of marriage. Next time we meet, I'll be talking about memory and memory in relation to dialogue and the frailty of memory. But for the moment, I hope that that's useful. As I say, the complete guide or a complete guide to point of view is going to be continuing for as long as it needs to. That will probably be this month. And I hope you can like, share and subscribe. Please comment. And I hope to see you soon.